Verse 19, then Daniel, whose name was Belteshazzar, was astonished for 1 hour. His thoughts troubled him. The king spake and said, Belshazzar, let not the dream or the interpretation thereof trouble you. He was unhappy. That is real compassion. You know, there was a preacher called Lyman. And he went to preach in a place. And a lady with a beautiful voice who could play well on the instrument was singing. And as she sang, everybody was happy. They were inspired because this woman could sing. And Lyman the preacher went to the woman and said, that's wonderful singing. But will I tell you that you need salvation? That if you could give your life to the Lord and give yourself totally to the Lord and become saved, then you can use your talent to the glory of the Lord. But he said it in such a tender way, in such a compassionate way. But the woman, the lady, will not accept. The woman was angry and bitter and spoke against preacher Lyman. And the preacher said, oh no, I didn't mean to do you harm or to hurt you or to hurt your feeling. I just love you, and I'll be feeling my duty if I did not tell you that you ought to get ready for the Lord. But you know, all through the message, this woman was not happy. She went home, but the compassion, the tenderness in the voice, in the face of the preacher never left the woman. And at 2 a.m. in the night, this woman crawled out of the bed and then began to write the hymn, Just as I am. Without one plea, I come, I come. And that songwriter, Elliot, became converted. Because of the tenderness, and that is the same type of tenderness you find in Daniel. He had compassion. You know, a woman had been born again, had been converted many years ago, and she had been living this wonderful Christian life at home, but the husband will not have anything of this, was angry, but the woman was praying. And had been inviting the the husband, come with me to our church. And the Lord will bless you. Our preacher is a wonderful preacher. I've got converted under his preaching. And had troubled the man so much, but the man will not accept. He had not been going to any worship service in any place for years. But on a very good day, when the man was in a good mood, the woman said, my husband, will you not go to church with me today? And he said, oh yes, I will go. And then they went. But that Sunday morning, the preacher came and he preached on hellfire. And he preached and quoted everything that he wanted to quote. And at the end of the whole thing, the woman was embarrassed and the man was unhappy and was bitter. My husband will refuse to go to church, but now this very day that he came, he did not hear anything about the love of God, but about hellfire. And they went back home. And the husband said, didn't I tell you that church is no good? The little peace I had, they took it away. And he was very, very angry. And will not come again. But you know, 6 months after, this woman had been praying, and she pleaded with the husband, please follow me, let's go again. And the man accepted after 6 months and came to church that Sunday morning. And they had a visiting preacher, a preacher from another area. They had invited him to preach specially for that morning. And I told him he could preach on any subject he wanted to preach. And the preacher, choosing his text, he preached on hellfire. But then, the man was not angry. The man was not bitter. When the altar call was made, he went in front and went to the altar and he gave his life to the Lord and became born again. When they got home, the wife said, my husband, I cannot understand. When I took you to church the first time 6 months ago, the preacher preached on hellfire. You were angry, you were bitter, and you were embarrassed. And today I took you there, and another preacher preached on the same topic, on hellfire, and you were melting, and you gave your life to the Lord, you were converted. Why? The husband said, there's a difference. 6 months ago when I went, your preacher preached on hellfire, as if he was happy I am going there. But today when I got to the church and that preacher started preaching, I could see it on his face. I could hear it in his voice. I could see it in his attitude. He preached on hellfire with love, preventing me going there. And that's why I responded. I did not respond to the quotations alone. I did not respond to only the words he was saying. I responded to his love, his compassion, his tenderness, because I know he loves me and he doesn't want me to perish. There's a difference, my brother, my sister, when you are tender, when you are compassionate, when you love people, and when you see that they're in trouble and you are troubled for them.